Hello First Nations campers. Congratulations on making it to part 3 of our videos, because that means that at least some of your butterflies have emerged from their chrysalises and you might have a few questions about what to do next. For the first day, they are basically just going to be trying to dry their wings, so they're not really going to be focusing on food too much, but we can still get all their food ready and still put it in there in case they do actually develop a appetite. So a couple of things that we want to do. So this is the feeding dish. This is what's going to be going in there, and I'm actually going to instruct you right now how to put that together, because that's the most important thing that we are going to feed them. So I'm going to cut to basically how we put this together. When they were caterpillars, they like to eat plant materials, but now as adults they are drinking from something known as nectar in plants. And since we don't really want to bring plants into the enclosure, we're going to give them the next best thing, which is sugar water. So in your kit, we mentioned this at the beginning, we had some things such as our butterfly feeder and the sugar. What we're actually going to do now is mix a solution of sugar water. So you will need a measuring cup. You only need about 1/4 cup of water. You don't need a lot. And you're going to take one of the sugar packets that you have. We're going to go ahead and tear the top off. And you're going to pour all of it in. So don't worry about leaving some in. How much should I do? All of it goes in. And then we just take a spoon and make sure we mix it in so it doesn't settle at the bottom. It's pretty much all dissolved. So now we have sugar water. Perfect. So, next step, after you have the top off, we go ahead and pour our water in. And it'll all fit in there perfectly. And on here there is a cloth on the bottom. It's a little bit of cotton, and it's absorbing, so it'll actually suck a lot of the water up, and it'll actually come to the top. Butterflies, they have a certain mouth part that is different than when they were young. So when they were actually the larva or the caterpillar, they had actually chewing mouth parts that they would use to chew up the plant. Now that they have become butterflies, they basically have a straw for a mouth, so they can only actually eat liquids, so they can only drink. And so what will happen is this cotton will absorb all of the sugar water up, and they will fly down and they will actually start drinking from this cotton. Another thing that actually comes with it, you'll have a pipette. Butterflies can actually taste with their feet. So like how we have taste buds on our tongues, they have it on their feet. So even if they walk into something that they like, that'll tell them that it's food. So what you can also do is you can take your pipette and you can take some of that sugar water and you can put droplets of it all around to try to coax them in, lure them around. You can even put it in different parts of the enclosure so you can actually watch them feed. So if one of them walks in it, they might even turn around and start drinking from it. So it's actually a fun little experiment. So if you just put some sugar water all around it and then put some up on here, let it soak in. Over time it'll go up, but if you want it to have sugar water in more quickly, you can just drip some on top. But that's about it. So just like with the caterpillars where all the food that they needed was in the container, once you have the sugar water in here and the sponge has been soaked, that is pretty much all you have to do for feeding them. They will feed themselves through here and they should be good to go. On the other hand, if you want to actually add chopped up fruits, fruits have sugar water in them too. And so if you were to do bananas or oranges or watermelon, any of those three, they can actually feed off of that as well. I would recommend that you change it out every day, because otherwise if you leave it in there it might go bad. But if you don't want to take that extra step, the sugar water is all you need. Alright, so now that we have all of our sugar bowls ready, we will go ahead and put them in here. So hopefully you don't have to open it all the way. I don't believe they're really going to try to fly out of here. If they do, well, you do have your net, so you can always catch them and bring them back in. But just always be a little careful when you're opening and closing it to make sure that no one's hanging on, that they can get out. But there's other things that we can feed them, as I had mentioned, and I'm actually going to go ahead and feed them an orange. I actually have a clementine. It's a little small orange. I did take a big paper plate, and because the enclosure doesn't have too much space down here, I don't need a whole paper plate, so I just took some scissors and I cut out around a small plate for them. You can use a bowl, you can use whatever you have at home, but definitely if you are doing any cutting, or when you get to the part with cutting the fruit, have an adult do this part, because knives are sharp, we want to be safe. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just actually going to cut a few slices. I'm not going to open it like a normal orange, because our butterflies, they feed with what's called a proboscis. This is, they don't have a mouth that they actually chew like we do. It's all like it's like a long straw. And so since they can only drink their food, I'm actually going to want to kind of open up this orange a lot more so that there's a lot of liquid. There's a lot of the sweet, sugary parts that they like. And that'll give them more access to actually drinking it. And the nice colors of this orange is really good too, because they respond to bright colors. That tells them that something is sweet and delicious. And so we want to put out these oranges just like this all around. And I'm going to bring that in there, and I'm quite sure they will appreciate this extra treat. So not only are they going to have sugar water, but they're also going to get some fruit. I love fruit myself. I think it's very, very tasty. It's good for you too. Good for butterflies too.